Okay, good afternoon, one and all. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Monday 1 p.m. live stream coming to you every Monday here at Funded Trading Plus. So welcome to you all. And it's the Monday giveaway as well. It's the stream where we give away five $12,500 evaluation accounts, which is your chance to win absolutely free just for turning up. You can't ask better than that for a Monday afternoon. Before we talk about the other practices, let me just talk about the one you need to get involved in right now. Okay, so it's the gold close. So what you need to do is basically give your best guess where you think gold will be in 50 minutes from now. So at 1:50 UK time, which is 8:50, of course, if you are in the US on the East Coast. So the best guess, the two closest, will win a $12,500 evaluation account. Now, there's no point dropping your guess in the chat. It won't be counted. Okay, you need to do it on the form that's been pinned here to the chat on YouTube. That's where you need to put in your. Someone's landing in my heliport there. So you need to get this on that form for it to be counted. You need to, of course, put in your email address. Don't worry, it won't be shared with anyone else. It's just for our purposes. Of course, if you don't put in a valid email address, then you won't be notified and you won't be able to claim the prize should you win. So basically, you've got about 8 minutes to get your guess in. We close that at 1:10, which is, and then we'll get on and do the rest of the stream. Just having a look where gold is at the moment. Gold at the moment, we are at 322.3. Personally, what I think over the next 50 minutes, and purely it's a guess, isn't it? Over the next 50 minutes or so, I personally would be a gold buyer over the next 50 minutes or so. But we'll talk about my analysis of gold later. So 320 to 3. Sorry, I beg your pardon. At the moment, it's at 3222. Okay, so that's where it is. I think we'll be going higher. I'm going to go for 236, and that's what I'm going for. But it's a pure guess, and of course, I can't win the evaluation, so it's purely down to you guys here. Okay, so that's two giveaways that we will be doing. The first, of course, is gold, announced in 50 minutes. We'll also, throughout the stream, it's only about an hour stream. We've got a lot to get through, so I won't delay. We'll also be doing a coupon drop at some point in the stream. So keep an eye on the chat. We'll give away basically two people that get it there first. We'll have two prizes of $12,500. So you can maybe get yourself registered for that already. We'll drop the coupon. The first two get that for absolutely free. So it's well worth registering with all your details. Maybe if you want to be fast and maybe do it that way around. So get yourself registered on the page there. We've also going to be giving away right at the end, and I'm not choosing this. We have the back office team looking at this, but two of you guys that are the most engaged in terms of in the chat and so forth. Engagement doesn't just mean saying FTP, as some people were trying last week, but engaging in the chat, talking markets and so forth. So the two most engaged viewers will also win two accounts, $12,500 evaluation, which totals $62,500. Wow, what a great 1 hour stream you've got ahead of yourself. Just on that note, before I get into the markets and so forth, if you are going over to the site to get yourself registered for those for that coupon drop, which I've got a feeling is going to be towards the end of the stream, otherwise people are just going to shoot off straight away. So head over to the site. I'm delighted to announce that over the weekend, for those of you that haven't noticed, we have now got a brand new squeaky clean website. Okay, so this is our new website. Okay, so check it out in your own time. It really is the state of the art piece of kit here. You look at all our different programs you've got. You can go to the experience, to 1 phase, 2 phases, and so forth. If you go, you've got all the rules, of course. If you go to the checkout down here, here's where you can basically make it your own as well. You can upgrade, you can do the different trading platforms as well. You can select the different amounts. Everything is, of course, affecting the checkout as well. So do go and check that out. As I say, you might want to get yourself registered ahead of time for that. So really, really a state-of-the-art new website. And of course, once you do get your account, we also have a brand new, some of you will have seen this already if you're trading with us. You will see our brand new squeaky clean dashboard as well. A fantastic looking dashboard now. So much more content on this dashboard. Here you can see your account details from the landing page. I love this feature down here. It shows you what you... Ignore this data, by the way. This is me playing with it over the last couple of days or so, and just getting the dashboard working. So forget about my track record, 1 win and 18 losses. That's not true. But what I like about this is it shows you your highest performing instrument, your lowest performing instrument as well, average losing trade, average winning trade. It's almost like a little trade journal here in itself. So we've got a much more features for your evaluation. Once you pass as well, you get your certificate. You'll download your certificate. Once you pass, it will automatically update. You can, rather than having to ask for your certificate, it will be done automatically for you. Just click the download and away you go. Once you've been doing it for a while and you've taken out the regular payments like quite a few of our traders are doing now, you can see all your payout history here as well. So really is fantastic now looking dashboard. Play with it in your own time as well. And of course, you can always get straight to a new challenge there. Account metrics, I think this is one of the best out there as well. Shows you your maximum drawdown, your current equity, and so forth, and all your different trades in there as well. 18 losers, 1 winner. You can tell I was messing around, but there you go. That's basically all for you to explore in your own time. Right, you've got 2 minutes left, folks. 2 minutes left before the end of the application window for the gold call. Let's have a look here at the moment. Let's see if we've got any. What have we got coming in? Let me just close that down. We've got gold coming in at 322.24. It's up. Oh, it's heading my direction. Heading up. Pure bit of guesswork, of course. Remember, I'm just going to say it again one more time here. If you're putting your guess in the chat here, it won't be counted. Yeah, it won't be counted. What's we got here? FT Plus clean dashboard, just pass, go live and get paid in 1 day. That's crazy. I love it. Brilliant stuff. Thanks, Metaberg. Have you got funded? Have you got funded in 1 day? That's excellent news if you have. Well done to you. Well done to you indeed. So I'm pleased you like it. Let's have a look here. Make sure your gold guesses are entered in the form. Yes, make sure. Here we go. Make sure they're entered in the form. Okay, for those of you that have got me on mute or what have you, it's got to go on the form. Otherwise, it will not be counted. And you've basically got just about 1 minute to go. And then the yes, I'm flexing my profits. That's right. Yeah, flexing my profits. God dear me. I don't think it's impossible to get 18 losers. Well, that's because I was buying and selling instantly, and obviously you lose because of the spread, I guess. That's why that was happening. But I was just testing out the responsiveness of the dashboard to the trading platform, which obviously worked very well. You think gold will be well? Okay, tell you what. Do you remember last week I spoke about my trade for the week, and I wasn't quite sure. If you remember from the stream, whether I should do gold or whether I should do oil. Do you remember that from last week? And I did select oil, although gold, of course, was my preferred. What my best 2 assets was gold and basically oil. And boy, did that work out well. Do you remember this screen from last week? Remember this? I typed it in live in front of you all. Target for the week, 57.50. Gosh, bang on, wasn't it? It was bang on for a while. Then, of course, Trump started talking about his tariffs, and it shot through. But we had a really good move. And the reason why I picked that level, if you recall, was because of this 100% extension targets that are often very, very powerful and often used for targets. Certainly when we get to the environment of blue sky, when we haven't had previous levels looking left on the chart, it is a great target. And I think this was the support zone that we nearly really need to break out. This is the resistance zone, and this was the support zone. And basically that distance there, once we broke out, gave me my target of 57.50, which I say typed into the screen, and we dropped down right down through there, and now have bounced back up again. And of course, gold was the other pick. I'll look at that in a moment. Gold, I still think, I saw Goldman Sachs earlier today putting out a forecast for 2025. Goldman Sachs, I think their earnings are out shortly, if they're not out already. Goldman Sachs, no, not quite. Record volatility. Goldman Sachs reporting very, very soon. Oh, it's just coming out now. Goldman Sachs. There you go. Goldman Sachs have basically called gold at 4,000 by this time next year. So Goldman Sachs are very bullish on gold. For what it's worth, I think they are maybe on the right side of that. So I would tend to agree with that. Goldman Sachs, we used to trade. That was the sign for Goldman Sachs in the old days, but I used to trade against Goldman Sachs when I was in the trading pits all those years ago. Trade zone, what time zone do you trade on? When I was in the trading pits, okay, I was basically on the 10-second chart or 5-second chart, literally buying, selling, and within the space of a couple of seconds. But now, as I'm getting older and I've got other things going on, I haven't got the time really that's needed for those lower time frame charts, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. So I'm much on the higher time frame charts. And it's also fair to say that since I'm now sort of in the education space, have been really for a few years now, my trading has taken, I don't trade as much these days. I've been doing it basically since I left school. So I'm now much preferred to be on the sort of the daily time frame. And interestingly enough, what I see from the traders that I have taught over the years, mentored over the years on groups or private tuition, the traders that, in my experience, the traders that do the best tend to be on the higher time frame charts. Personally, I know there are very successful scalpers out there, but for me, the higher time frame charts, the better. There could be a correction down to 2,800, possibly so. Right, okay, so don't forget, keep your eyes peeled for the coupon drop. The gold window has now closed. We'll be announcing that at 150. Again, I'm not looking at the entrance. We have my back office team are doing that for me, and they'll announce it at 150. And if they're listening in, they can WhatsApp me as well, in case I missed the chat. There you go. Right, okay, so what has been going on in the markets? We just spent a couple of minutes talking about what's been going on last week in the markets. Then we'll have a look on the charts and look at some trading opportunities that I've got my eyes on this week. I'm looking again at gold this week. I also think the stock markets are coming in for a bit of a resistance zone, having had a big pullback this week. So I think we'll see for some trading setups in there. I'm also going to talk a little bit about the Aussie CAD. I also want to show you a neat little trick about how you should think about trading Forex and how you should be aware of market correlation. Because this is another thing that's come up quite a few times with me in the past. People have all these strings of winners and strings of losers, and they can't work out why they're all sort of like having these clusters or clumps. And it's due basically to the fact that they are not aware of market correlation. So, if you're having 1 or 2 losses, then that 1 or 2 losses turns into 5 or 6 losses. It's because you're trading correlated currencies. I'm going to show you a little trick how you should be aware of that as well. So lots to get through in the next hour. Right. So as always, this is purely for entertainment and education purposes. Do not take this as investment advice. No way, shape or form. I'm not giving out signals, Forex signals or trading signals. We don't do that. That's not the way to make money, as far as I'm concerned. As a long-term, consistently profitable trader, doesn't just copy someone else's signals or go with what someone else says. At the end of the day, Forex, as you know, is what, $6 trillion a day market. What do I know? What's that guy know that's got some algo that's just popped up in Discord and he thinks he's had a few winning trades? Don't, I think, be too fixated on that. It's not something that we do, certainly not here on this stream. Right, last week's drivers. Of course, CPI, the inflation numbers came out in the US a lot weaker than expected, which basically ordinarily would move bond yields lower. But actually what happened, and PPI came out, that's producer price index. That's what the factory gate prices are, what the manufacturing companies have to pay for their goods and services at the factory gate. These are all coming in lower than expected. So that's basically deflationary if prices are coming down. Now, ordinarily, you'd expect to see bond yields come lower. But what actually happened last week, and it's one of the reasons why I think, personally, this is just my opinion, it's one of the reasons why you had the Trump tariff turnaround, as I'm calling it, was basically because the bond yields were flying higher. Now, when you're trading bonds, for those that don't know, a bond is an IOU, so the central bank issues bonds and they borrow money basically, and the holder of the bond gets coupon payments every 6 months and he gets his money back at the end of the maturity. So bond yields basically shot up to 4.5%, actually up about 16%. So it came from about 3.9, I think it was something like that, up to 4.5%. And I think this is one of the reasons why Donald Trump turned around on his tariffs, because it was becoming to the state, basically the state in the markets where it could have been this could have turned into a financial crisis. So everyone was dumping the bonds, and if you're selling bonds, the yields go up. It's just the way they work. Yields go up, prices go down, prices go up, yields come down. Okay, so bond yields and prices go in different directions. It's basically the interest that you're getting with redemption calculations and so forth, but without going into too much detail on that. So bond yields are pushing higher. That basically means that the US have to spend a lot more on interest payments to finance their massive debt that they've got running at the moment. And so he had to do something about that. And that's why I think he turned around to basically support some markets, because people were selling bonds and selling the stocks and what have you. And the financial crisis was, I think, not far away. So that's why he turned around. And with that, of course, you saw the stock markets fly. The US stock markets are up 12%, something like that. I'll show you the details in a moment. But that was the main mover of last week. We had Liberation Day on the Wednesday, was that the week before? That sent stock markets tumbling. The S&P 500 was down 20% at worst. That is, in fact, a bear market. It's considered a bear market, 20%. And then, of course, he turned it around and stocks jumped. So big events of last week, and it's still seeing ramifications now. Gross domestic product in the UK came out showing growth of up 0.5%. Markets are only expecting up 0.1%. So that was a big sort of welcome news here in the UK. And the pound found a little bit of support on the back of it. So GDP showing better than expected. And then you had the New Zealand. They cut their interest rates last week. Cut their interest rates down to 3.5% from 3.75%. Pretty much expected, although the Kiwi did actually perform better, which doesn't, again, normally happen. Normally when interest rates get cut, normally the currency comes lower, but interest rates didn't really have too much of an impact on the currency. It was more supported, the Kiwi, by the fact that we had, risk on. Yep. Markets are moving back into risk commodities, of which risk currencies, of which the Kiwi is one of them. Yes, indeed, trade zone. It was a crazy volatile week last week. Steve Byron says geopolitical reasons are causing gold to rise. That's one absolutely reason. Central banks are buying gold. Uncertainty. No one likes uncertainty. Safe haven appeal of gold always seems to be there. So yeah, geopolitical reasons is why gold is rising. I would absolutely agree with that. Is that good? Internet rate is down. Interest rates are down. Is that good? Interest rates are down. Interest rates is coming down. Is normally, well, it's good for, you've got mortgages and things like that, I guess. Yep, CPI was not that strong. CPI, well, it wasn't that strong. It came in at 0.1, but the thing is, the numbers were, well, the numbers came in lower, actually. They weren't low. It came in lower. I mean, the markets were going in for up 0.4, and it only came in up 0.1, so it was lower than expected. Certainly, yeah. That was, who's asking that? That was Jump Far. Okay, good stuff. Right. Okay. What are the main movers then? Just a quick snapshot then before we get on to the charts and have a look at what I'm looking at this week. So gold was up 7% last week. There you go. Say it was going to be that or WTI was my pick. Gold still pushing up higher. WTI Western Texas was up. Actually, it's unchanged on the week. Gold oil, but we had a 12% range in oil. Of course, you've got OPEC increasing supply. You've got Saudis cutting price. So factors affecting oil, they're still very much there. S&P 500, pretty much all the stocks down. NASDAQ, all up considerably, about 12% really for the S&P 500, which is really almost a complete reverse of the week before. The DAX was up 10%, was up 14% at one point, the DAX. That's the German stock market. Okay, so that's ramifications out there as well. Bitcoin was up 12%. That can do that in a day, can't it? The FTSE 100 was up 7.5% on the week. So all money flying into stocks. This is obviously a risk-on environment. Michelle says this is good. What's good? This, me, or the stock markets? So basically everything went up. Everything went up apart from the elephant in the room, the US dollar. Okay, the US dollar dropped 3.5%. The US dollar is now down 10% since the beginning of the year. 10% drop in the world reserve currency. Massive, massive move. So to say everything is up is most probably not quite accurate. Dollar is really down. So I've been trading, as you know, for many, many, many years. This is almost defying a little bit of logic at the moment. You've basically got interest rates going up, bond yields are going up. Normally the currency should follow, but bond yields are going up, and the dollar is dropping. It normally works the other way around. They normally work together. But of course, we're in a different world now, of course, with Trump and so forth. I think the dollar is dropping on the recession fears. That's basically what is happening. Fears of the US economy dipping into recession, which is one of the reasons why the currency is so low. At some point, the Fed will have to cut interest rates. I showed you last week when I think interest rates, I think they're pricing in 4 cuts now between now and the end of the year. With inflation down, stock markets in trouble, interest rates will have to come down at some point, which is one of the reasons why that is down. That's why BTC is rising. Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's have a quick look at what we're looking at this week. I have been told not to spend too much time on the fundamentals. It's important, I think, you understand fundamentals, even if you're not trading the fundamentals. I think knowing what's driving the markets that we are trading, I think, really is important. Today, we've just got some Fed speakers out. Okay, so as I said, markets are penciling in 4 rate cuts between now and the end of the year. These Fed speakers, FOMC, Barkin, Waller, and Harker, they're all speaking on the wires this afternoon. If you see price action in the dollar this afternoon around 3.5, 4 hours time, chances are it's going to be because of what these guys are saying. They're talking about giving their views on where they think interest rates are going to go and at the pace they're going to cut. And no doubt they'll be talking about tariffs and the implications of that as well. So keep an eye on that this afternoon. That's all we've really got here on a Monday. Tomorrow we've got the Canadian CPI. We've got prices expected to show a slight drop for month on month. And that's likely to come in around 2.4%. Did you have, do we have Bank of Canada this week? I think we do. Yes, we do. On Wednesday, in fact, good segue. On Wednesday is busy day, busiest day of the week, really, in terms of the data that we can expect to drive the markets. We've got consumer price index in the UK expected to come in at 2.7%, down from 2.8%. Not going to make much impact, I don't think. We're still expected to see 3 rate cuts in the UK. Pound is doing reasonably well at the moment. I mentioned GDP numbers out last week. Quite good numbers last week. Gold's going down, is it? What's gold at the moment then, Van Aal? I'll put it up on my screen in a moment. So 245 on Wednesday, we've got the Bank of Canada rate statement. And that basically is their interest rates. They're expected to leave their interest rates at 2.75. God, it's low, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. 2.75. Yeah. Again, keep an eye on the press conference with all these rate statements. What we need to pay attention to really is the statement afterwards, giving us clues to where they'll move interest rates after. So keep an eye on that on Wednesday, busy day. And you've got CPI out in New Zealand. Expected to show I always get confused between the New Zealand and the Australian flag, but this is the New Zealand flag. And the way I know that is because this star here is the lowest star, which in New Zealand is lower than Australia. That's why I know that. Right, CPI coming in at showing a slight rise quarter on quarter, 0.7% from 0.5%. Thursday is the day you want to keep an eye on. If you're here in the Eurozone, we've got ECB at 1:15. The European Central Bank, they decide on interest rates, and we expect to see a cut to 2.4% from 2.65%. And it's literally coming across my wires on another screen here. Traders / bets on ECB cuts for 2025 to 67 basis points in total. 67, funny number. 67, yes, another 2 cuts really after this week's cut. So that's what we can expect to see. Also saying the interest rate swaps are showing a 70 basis point cuts for the UK, down from 80 on Wednesday. So rate cutting in the Eurozone and in the UK is becoming, well, they're less optimistic, should we say. So that might support these currencies against the US dollar. If rates are going to stay higher for longer in the Eurozone and in the UK, you can expect to see longer term those currencies slightly more supported. Right, okay. And Friday is a bank holiday. Bank holiday Friday. It's Good Friday for those of you that will be. So most markets are closed on Friday. I think I'm still going to be here doing something or other. Friday is closed. Okay, so let's have a look then at the markets. So I want to look at gold. I want to look at oil. I've looked at oil, but let's have a look at where we are. So this, of course, is the oil. Okay, gold is dropping. It was at 322, wasn't it? Is anyone getting close? Did anyone go lower, or they be following me? Anyone getting close? Let me know if you're getting close to 3211. Anyone? Bank holiday for everyone. Okay, good stuff. Right, yeah, gold's coming lower. I'm still a buyer of gold. Okay, so gold for me now is for us to remember the tariffs have been a bit of a turnaround. They haven't been suspended totally. They've just been sort of put back for 90 days. We're going to have semiconductor tariffs later on in the week from Trump. Uncertainty remains. The fundamentals that put gold through 3,200 hasn't changed. The fundamentals are still there. Central banks apparently are still buying, but we all have these retracements. And as I would see it now, my next entry level for buying gold trade for the week, if we get back down there, if this pullback does continue, and it might continue, it's only $50 or $40 from here, would be using my boomerang trend continuation trade. This is the boomerang trend continuation trade that I often talk about. Okay, you'll see it. using this pretty much since I lost a lot of money in 2005, 2006. I started trading things very, very simple. Well before anyone talked about smart money concepts and all that stuff. I've been trading this for for donkey's years. Basically, it's pulling back to liquidity, and you're seeing a pullback straight into the previous high where we bounced off 3 times. This is acting as support. This is where you have the big banks buying and what have you. This is where the big breakout. There's often more buyers back down at those levels. It pulls back straight into that support, and off it goes again. Okay, so I'm seeing the same type of pattern coming in here. So I'm waiting for this now to pull back to this zone. Okay, so this would be an entry in gold around 3166. I'll be quite happy to do that. Again, not on the 5-minute chart. This is on the longer time period chart. Normally, I would have the stop below the swing low that led to the swing high. That is just a bit too far away on this one. So I would have my stops, I would say, below the 50% of this range. Okay, so the 50% of this range could be a support zone. So I'm looking at this range here. If I can drop in a 50% line, which would come in at around there, I would have thought, yep, that's where my level will be. So I'm going to have my stops slightly below for a profit target. Blue sky, and again, so what do we do for blue sky? Well, I look to take another target higher. I think this target down there is where my next target would be. So that takes you up to 3280. Give me about 1.5 to 1 risk reward ratio on a very strong trending market. And Divash, as per Andrew, it will reach 3211. No, I don't know where it'll reach. Is anyone getting close to gold? Is anyone getting close to the it's a bit like a change of character strategy, Bazim. A bit like that. That's, well, my change of character is my reversal strategy, and that, if you like, I presume you're talking about change of character. Is that what you're talking about? SMC stuff. I think, yeah, this is I just call this the boomerang strategy. It basically looks for a pullback. Okay, so it's basically this pattern here. Pulls back, previous support, stops below the swing low. I've got rules for this as well, which we'll share as well. But just join the streams. I articulate it here all the time. But it's basically buying in liquidity areas on a strong trend, establishing a strong trend. I mean, I drew in here all these entries back here. You know, I think I was doing this session for someone a couple of days ago, and you just see how many times on this 4-hour chart this has worked all the way up, and that's just basically what we're doing. I mean, we just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times that we basically had entries all the way up from 266. The vertical measurement pips away. I think I've explained that this is basically just 100% extension. Yeah, you don't need to use this. It's just an extension zone. Okay, so rather than me putting up my fib tool, you know, you can pull a fib tool up and do it as well. You know, but it's basically if you put in an extension here, 150 or something like that, 1.5. 1.5 here. Yeah, you can do it like that, I guess. And it just basically takes it out the other way. It basically extends out the thing. It's just it's just like 50%, by the way, is not Fibonacci number, but it is a retracement number, and the other side of that is the 100% extension. So that's basically what we do. Adso says buy. Right, okay, so there we are. Let me take that off. There we go. So gold, I'm liking gold continuation for that strong trend. By the way, if you want me to look at anything in particular, do jump on and I'll see if we can have a look at it for you. There's quite a few here at the moment. So, you know, trend players, you know, like to get into trends, never want to buy the tops of candles, never want to sell the bottom of candles. You know, go with the trend, wait for the pullbacks. All markets, you know, have the expansion and correction, expansion, correction, and so forth. So I just wait for the correction to previous liquidity. Okay, so what I'm looking at a little bit with interest really is these stock markets. Yeah. Yeah, we'll have a look at Eurodollar. So these stock markets, S&P 500, the NAS. Let me see if I got it on this page here. That's the. Just bear with me a second. Indices. All right. Okay, so looking here at the daily chart, I think you would agree this zone here, this level I've had drawn in for a while now, is a strategic support zone that was broken and then failed, and that led to this big move. This is like the, this was the Liberation Day move. Okay, now since we've had that move where institutions, large players, hedge funds started offloading. You remember these candles, when you see these type of candles, when you see this type of aggressive move away from zones, okay, and you'll agree, he says, you'll agree that this is a zone. Okay, this is the S&P 500, 5665. It's a zone, yeah, bounced off it there, bounced off it here, broke through, held a support, bounced up, held a support, came through, thought about it here, finally broke through, retest with this wicked candle, and then these three big red down day candles. What do you think is causing that? Okay, that it's not you trading your assessment account or evaluation account. It's not me trading my little one lot. Okay, what's moving there are the big players. Okay, and often when big players enter the markets like this, the levels at which they entered, because they can't do it, and not sort of tell you about it afterwards, because you see it on candles, big long momentum candles. They're called Marubozu candles. When you see these big long momentum candles, it basically means the institutions were getting out of stock. Okay, and that's one of the reasons also why you saw gold trade high. It's one of the reasons why Bitcoin went down, because people haven't sold Bitcoin to pay for their losses in the stocks. But this is basically where institutions are selling. Okay, and often you'll see that the level at which they began their aggressive selling now has been retested, is likely to see further resistance. It's called, you might have heard it before, it's called splitting. Okay, so they're not going to put all their orders in at one go. They will sell maybe a proportion of them and wait for the markets to maybe come back up to those levels. But that's where the pending orders are likely to be sitting. So now we're coming back up into this zone. This gap here, I don't know if this is the actual day, Wednesday it was Liberation Day. Yeah. This is where it gapped. Right. This is the zone now that I'm expecting the stocks to hold for these on this rally. So what I'll now be looking to do, I'm not selling it here. Okay, I'm going to wait for the markets to confirm what I believe to be a significant level. Now I don't know if it's significant. I'll wait for the markets to confirm. And what I'll do is drop down to the lower time frames. You can go down to the 4-hour chart, or you can go down to the 1-hour chart, or you can go even lower. But I'll be waiting to see how the markets react when we get up to this zone. Okay, so the first initial test, I'm pretty confident in saying it's going to think about it. Whether it's going to push on through and motor on right back up to the next resistance zone or not, I don't know. But what I'll be looking to do is to see what the market does. So chances are it's going to react off it with a bit of a pullback maybe. And then we'll see the continuation, if indeed the continuation happens. If the continuation fails to take out the previous first attempt at that level, that's my indication that, hey, it's not just me watching this level. It's basically confirmed with price action. So your trade will be selling at these zones, stop selling at the break of this, you might call it, I don't know if it's change of, but I suppose it is a change of character. A break of this zone, which will be at 4 well, we haven't seen it here. I hadn't got up there yet. So I'm just, if the market does what I yellow drawn in here, then you'll see on this example, the break of structure will be 5424. Okay, so you'd have your stops above the failed swing high and targeting the levels down here. Here you can get some really decent risk to reward ratios. Okay, excuse me, that's nonsense on that. So here we go. So you're going to have something like stops above the failed swing high, profit targets. Well, I mean, you might want to take off half at halfway, but a retest of those levels with the uncertainty really not gone away. This is just like I think we used to call this the dead cat bounce. You know, a dead cat bounce. You know, even a dead cat will bounce if you drop it from high enough. Is the theory behind that. But this is a bounce at the moment, and I think if we do break around here, if we test this level, fail, then the that could be the dead cat bounce over, and we trade lower. So my trade pick for the week is going to be, I'm going to go halfway down to, that's about, I'm going to go down to here for my halfway point of that move as my target. What's that? 5137. It's my weekly target. Weekly target 5137-ish. Yeah. So I'll just drop that in there and we'll talk about it. Oh, actually, next week is a holiday, isn't it? And then I'm scuba diving for a week. So we won't be here to confirm it, but there we are. There it is. There we have it. So looking at the S&P 500, if you look at the Dow, same type of thing, yeah? Exactly the same type of thing. This is where, okay, so I'm just, so this is the dead cat. This is the the Liberation Day. This is when the institutions started knocking out the top 30 US companies stock. And now we've had a rally right back up to it. So the S&P 500 hasn't done it yet. The S&P has, yeah. It bounced off that level. Exactly the same analysis that I've just done on the S&P, but it has tested it here. And here's the pullback, and here is the attempt again. If it fails to take out this high, yeah, that is going to be your break of structure. Quite a long way away, to be honest, on this one. You might find it if you get down on a, well, that is a break of structure. If it breaks through here, we're going to be trading lower. It stops from above. That's the trade. Yeah. That would be the trade. Yeah, no spamming, please. Right. But if you take that down to the lower time frames, down to the 1 hour chart, for example, well, you could have your break of structure coming in at 39,900. Yeah. This failed swing, this swing low, I mean, it's a 1 hour candle. It could have been a flat finger. I don't know what it is. I don't like trading these long wicks on a 1 hour candle. It could mean nothing. It's not really institution money, that. I don't think. But, well, you got the idea, basically. And then you look at the NAS 100, right? NAS 100. I mean, it's the same thing, guys. Yeah. You remember, it hasn't tested it yet on the S&P. 500, but the level that I've told you about this Wednesday, Liberation Day, back up to retest. And it's thinking about it, isn't it? Well, it did think about it. It dropped back. It dropped, almost dropped almost 7%, testing it. Well, maybe the one you want to be looking at is the S&P 500. But if this fails to take out these highs, then, well, your break of structure will be long way away, 17.9. But nothing wrong with being patient. All right, we've had a coupon drop. The coupon has been dropped, I've been informed. So congratulations. Oh, never mind. Hate my life. Dear, oh dear. Well, try again next time. So try again next time. Maybe next time I'll try your luck. Okay, well, come along. Yeah. We may be shaking up the competition a little bit in some way, but yeah, I think people basically register and they just hit the button the moment it goes out. But you've got to keep an eye on the chat. Congratulations to all those winners. Just on that note, let me say, chances are, okay, I understand we all like winning through raffles and so forth, but if money is just holding you back in your trading career, if money's holding you back, then we do understand that people don't sometimes wait for free tickets and what have you, but you can take a discount as well. I've just put this one up as well. So if you didn't win, we're going to give you 12.5% off, 12.5, 25 or 50k experienced trader program with that brand new squeaky clean dashboard that I've shown you at the beginning of the stream. Just use this code here, whatever it is, 125x per. Okay, and that gives you 12% off. I think you can use I think below the YouTube video there's a link as well. It takes you straight to the checkout as well. But there you are. So there you have it. We will be looking at gold in about 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes. We'll be looking at what's happening to gold. So there you are. But there's the discount code. So get yourself in there. Trading and assessment account, an evaluation account. I personally think, having traded so many traders over the years, well before we had prop firms, I think it really does change people's trading mentality. When it's very easy sitting here on your own, just with your mouse, clicking away and blowing up $500 trading accounts. But when you've got accountability here, you've got some rules you need to follow. We've got very liberal rules, just very basic rules of managing risk. Every trader should be managing risk. If you're trading a proper account, then you are going to be managed. You're going to be making sure that you don't have a drawdown of more than, you shouldn't be losing more than 4% on a daily account. Just shouldn't be happening. So having these controls, self-imposed controls, really is, can really transform a trader's flight path to success, rather than dropping in $500 or $1,000 into a trading account. Using an assessment account can really help excel at your trading. So if you didn't win the prize, bad luck. There you go, you got the code, you can take it on for next time. Right, let's just take that off for now. Oops, a daisy. There we go. So S&P 500, NAS stocks are down. FTSE 100. Okay, well, FTSE 100 is right into it now. I think not so much on the FTSE 100 on the daily. Well, I'm going to leave the FTSE for now. Personally, I think this is a bit of a right. Gold coming up in a minute. Yes, I will do. I'll confirm the gold close at when my alarm goes off in about a minute's time. So let's have a look here. Okay, so it's coming in. We've got 15 seconds. Looks as though that's going to be. There we go. So just a couple of seconds. Does anyone think they've won? Anyone got close? When my Alexa wakes me up.
At warp speed, Captain. The engines will never take it.
What? 3211 is gold.
Here is your reminder.
3211.
Gold.
3211.65 if you need to get okay, thank you, Alexa.
Gold.
So 3211 was the closing gold, and it's dropping now as we speak. Maybe the whole market is selling gold to get it down to win their prize. 3211. So hopefully some of you got close. Anyone think they got close? Let me know. Vanar says, as long as you filled in the form, Vanar, that's pretty close. If you filled the form in, that's pretty close. I don't know if anyone else. Who is the gold winner? Gold winner, anyone? So look, any names of any winners? I'm waiting for the back office to confirm with me. Let's have a look. Bit of fun, isn't it? Something to do on a Monday afternoon. Congratulations to the gold winner. We'll announce it shortly. Okay, so keep an eye on the chat. It will be announced shortly. I'll keep it there as well. Pin the market says I'm the closest. Again, you've got to have your competition in on the correct one. Right, I've got to fly through this quickly. Let's have a look at whoops, daisy. That's just reload that for a second. This is my momentum meter. Shows me which currencies are strong, which currencies are weak. Remember, you've still got that most engaged viewer to win. So at the moment, we're seeing commodity currencies, New Zealand dollar, Australian dollar. Those are the strong currencies. Canadian dollar is a little bit lagging for some reason. I quite like the Aussie CAD. We'll have a look at the Aussie CAD in a second. Gold's showing a bit of, the dollar's showing a little bit of a tick higher at the moment. Okay. I'm looking at dollar yen. Okay. Dollar yen. I was thinking about using dollar yen as my trade pick for the week, and I can have two picks, I guess. But I think with the stock markets, not correlation, right? I'm going to talk about that in a second. But basically, dollar yen and stocks tend to be slightly correlated. And if you're seeing these stock markets coming into these resistance zones, basically the liberation level that we saw the fall off from, the decimal place was 321165 was the level. 321165 was the level I called. There we go. So yeah, dollar yen. Looking at the high time frame charts, we've broken through resistance, broken through support. The next level we will be testing. Look at this beautiful pin bar down here. This is my naked trading strategy that I talk about all the time. Got to confirm with another. Yeah, bang on. Gosh, what was I doing back in September last year? Was I? Yeah, and that would have been one of our naked trade setups. No one's on that. Look at that move. This is one of the strategies I teach called the naked setup. It's basically looking for these basic pins at these big levels. That was a bit massive one. Anyway, I digress. So that is going to be our target. This is where you saw liquidity buying from institutions before. It's going to be our target zone. So my profit targets are going to be down there. I'm going to look to short dollar yen with a boomerang potential pullback. Okay, which is going to look something like this. Okay. Lower lows, lower highs, pulls back. That's my entry. Okay. Stops. Well, you would normally have your stop above there, but that's going to be too far away. Profit target, as I said, down at that zone. Short position, entrance there. Profit target's down there. Stops Well, I think my stop is going to be, on this instance, above the 50% of that move. So stops are going to be about where I've got it. Maybe get 2 to 1 out of that one. So wait for the pullback into this zone. Stops above. Stocks can help you. Trades lower. Okay. And Aussie CAD. Let's have a quick look at Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD. I was looking at Aussie CAD earlier for a potential setup. Where are we? Where's my Aussie CAD? Am I going blind? There we go. Okay. So yeah, this is not a boomerang reversal, but if you look at the breakout zone from here, okay, so the breakout, this, I'm sure you're nice people, so you all agree with me. Yeah, this is your liberation day. Yeah, this is the stocks crumbling. Yeah, we've pulled back, but we've pulled back now more than 50% of that move. I think this has got potential now. Interestingly, isn't this interesting? I don't know if you can see this. Talk about my 100% zone. When we touch down here, yeah, and we pull back, I beg your pardon. So see this zone here. So from crosshairs, breaking out, down to the pullback and retest, which is this level zone. So that's the distance. And then it finally trades lower and it matches it to 100%. We've now broken through the 50% zone. Targets have got to be, with the stock markets going the way they're going, a trade continuation back up to the liberation zone for me, 89.30. I like the dollar. Sorry, I beg your pardon. I like the Aussie. It's a strong currency at the moment. Canadian currency, the loonie, is one of the weaker currencies. We like that. I did mention a moment ago a little trick I teach some of my students, if I can find it. Is, I've seen so many people in the past, as I say at the beginning of the stream, losing clumps of trades because they're seeing their setup and they think it's a great setup, but quite often they'll see their setup appear on numerous different currencies at the same time, or indeed maybe a stock index against the currency as well. It's always worth checking when you're trading whether you've got correlation. Now, this is a table that I've been using for quite a while. I talk about it as well in my sort of private education that we do. It's basically a correlation table, right? So I've got all my currencies at the top, all my currencies down here at the side. If you see a high number depicted by dark green or dark red, it means the currency is heavily correlated. So, for example, you've got 94 here, Aussie Swiss and Euro New Zealand. Did you know that the Aussie Swiss and the Euro New Zealand is very inversely correlated? That basically means if the Aussie Swiss is going up, you can bet your life the Euro New Zealand is going to go down. If you see a setup in both, well, if you get stopped out, you're going to get stopped out in both. So make sure you check your correlations before you enter multiple different trading Forex pairs. You can also do that. So anyway, this site is called, just type in Forex correlation. And this one's called matf.net. I don't know who they are. I've never followed their other stuff. I'm sure they're selling some other stuff somewhere. I don't know about anything about this company at all, which is the one that I like using. And I've given them a free shout out, so maybe they should be sending something my way. But it's a great little table that you can use to check your correlation on your currencies. But also you can do that on Trading Views. If you have so what was that? That was Aussie Swiss. And if you just go to this button up here, you can put in something else. So if I want to compare the Aussie CAD with euro dollar, you can see, are they correlated? Well, they're inversely correlated as well, haven't you? On the 4-hour chart, this one, the whatever it was, euro dollar flew higher and the Aussie CAD goes lower. So you can see they're negatively correlated. Yeah, this is the correlation tab at the top here on TradingView. Anyway, just thought I'd run that by you, bit of education. I think the purpose of these streams hopefully is to give you a little bit of an insight to what traders are thinking, professional traders, bit of fun as well. Hopefully you enjoyed all that. Okay, so I think that comes to the end of the stream. We have got a couple of winners, which also win the most engaged viewers. You've got, the most engaged viewer, I beg your pardon, one winner. Most engaged viewer was Hunchar _0. Please tag Josh at FTP on the Discord, and you can get yourself a $12,500 assessment account. Again, if you just want to go to the site, you can see that discount code there as well. It's not up for very long, so if you want to take 12.5% off, well worth doing. Okay, well, hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, share it with your friends, get them to come along and say hi. Next week is a public holiday, and then I am going off to Asia to do some scuba diving for a week, so I won't be here, but we'll be back very soon. So keep an eye on your social media, keep an eye on your emails, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks all for tuning in. Congratulations to all our winners. There you go. You can scan that if you want to go to the Discord. Congratulations to all our winners today, and good luck. Treat the account seriously. You make your target, you get $12,500 of real simulated funds. Then the profit is actually yours. And you guys today have got that for absolutely free. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you all very, very soon. Have a good rest of the week.